So I wanted to talk about these Slate Raven control surfaces. I think they came out about 15 years ago and they were all the rage. Everybody thought this was fantastic. A flat monitor that was touch sensitive and you can mix everything on there. And I just thought it was the stupidest idea that they put out there. But I got to admit, it's very sexy looking, having these monitors, pointing at you. But as far as mixing, it really took your attention away from listening to the audio because you had these big screens glowing at your face, so close to you. And then you trying to ride a fader or do something like that, you had to kind of look down and see where the fader was so you could touch it. And this is, I used to sell the Icon consoles, the big D control, the D command. And the great thing about those things when they came out, you hooked them up to a Pro Tool system and people weren't looking at the screens anymore because they had hardware faders, hardware knobs. They were flying around the control surface and getting work done really quickly. They weren't looking at a screen. And this thing kind of forced you into looking at the screen. And I remember people just going nuts about these things. And I don't know. I think they still, I looked it up on Sweetwater. They're for like $4,000 for two screens and the furniture. And I think it's a lot cheaper than they were, but they were charging a huge amount of money for these things. And I think people kind of got smart to the idea that this doesn't make any sense to have these screens in front of you. I mean, acoustically, I don't know if it's the right thing. Granted, it's at an angle, but just having your brain trying to concentrate on the audio when you have all this stuff so close to you and so bright, and you had to look down to them to touch them, to move your faders or panning or anything else. Where with the hardware, you just can put your hand on it, and as you're listening, you're moving them up and down. And I know that they're multi-touch, so you can have multiple faders that you could touch at the same time. But again, you have to look down to see what's going on. It just seemed like a really dumb idea, and I think it's panning out that way. People are still buying them. I've never sold one, and I think it's, like I said, didn't think it was a smart move, but I never sold one, but I've never been in a studio that I've seen any either. So I don't know who they're selling them to, but I hope that the people realize they got them, that it's just not the best idea in the world. So there's my story. At one point, I had a rep of mine that was a friend with the Steven Slate, and he talked to him about being a dealer for it, and he didn't want any more dealers. But I really wasn't thinking, I didn't think it was a good idea for me to be a dealer for it anyways, because if you don't believe in the product, it's hard to sell it. And this just seemed like something that wasn't going to take off, even though they probably sold a good amount of them. But I think people kind of got smart to the fact that you could get a touch-sensitive screen and run your software on there. But I think there's some proprietary software in there. But there you go. That was my little rant on the Slate Raven. Just, I don't know.